How's it going, everyone? Today I'm going to be answering the question that nobody has ever asked themselves. Can you beat Hogwarts Legacy with just plants? Being a botanist only, we need to create the perfect being. And by any being, they obviously have to be a Hufflepuff. So let's start with the rules now. So rule number 1 is that if there's an attack with the wand that deals any sorts of damage, doesn't matter what it is, if it has a damage number pop up, it is off limits. Unless if it's like 100% necessity that you have to use it in that situation. I'm going to try my hardest not to use anything that has any form of damage numbers pop up. So then this works kind of in favor of rule number 2. Anything that is a crowd control spell is fine. So Accio, Wingardium Leviosa, anything that will just set the opponent in like a crowd controlled state to where they cannot attack me is completely fair. Rule number 3, potions are completely fair. Unless if it is a Thunder Brew potion, because that one will deal damage. And we are trying to do a botanist only playthrough. We don't want any type of potion damage as well, only with plants. And then obviously for the final last rule is that we can only use plants to damage people. As I've said before, it is a botanist run, people. We need to make sure that we can only kill others with our plants. We're going to use them and we're going to destroy the wizarding world. So now that we have gotten all the rules out of the way, it's time to begin the journey to Hogwarts as our boy, the Riz Master Twoffle. That is right, that is going to be the name of our character this playthrough because he is our Riz Master, and as the Hufflepuff and the Botanist, we're gonna have to go over and riz up our girl Miss Garlic so she can give us all the plants. And then maybe I can give her a special plant of mine. So now Twoffle is led here by this big-nosed man, and we get to meet our first little friend here who... Well, that didn't last very long. He kind of got eaten by a dragon, but that is fine. Because our boy Twoffle does not go down easy like he does. We first get handed a weird vial glass from the old man that I guess we're going to down, not even curious if it's his own semen or not. But we drink it anyways because, I mean, you're hurt and somebody gives you something, you might as well. Take that with a grain of salt, people. Don't actually do that in real life, or do it. I don't care. I'm not your dad. The weird old man takes us to some weird place that we don't care about. We're just trying to get out of here. Twoffle then finds a strange mirror on the side of a wall where he gets to just glimpse at himself and gaze into his beauty. As we all do, Twoffle. As we all do, you beautiful specimen. The creepy little goblin then shuts us into the vault here, and then we're like, ah, no, what will Twoffle do? Will I have to eat this old man? But realistically, this is already where we're going to come into contact with our first problem of the run. We're already 5 seconds into the run, and we've already found a problem, which right here isn't quite the problem yet. Because we just kind of circle around and Professor Fig here just absolutely annihilates all these guardians for us like it's no problem. The part that I am speaking of is right here, where Professor Fig is nowhere to be found. It is just me, and I am just sitting here using my Protego and Stupefy, hoping if I stun them all, maybe something will happen. Maybe they will destroy each other. And I kind of go around for maybe 2 to 3 minutes until I realize I can't do anything about it. I am forced to tap R2 and attack these guys. There's nothing I can do, I can't get out. So no, in theory, you cannot beat Hogwarts Legacy with just plants, because right away, we've already come to this problem. But that's why I said that I can't use regular attacks unless if it was 100% necessary. So in this case, let's just glimpse over this part, you know? We can act like this never happened. It definitely surely won't happen again, right? There's not multiple instances where we're gonna have to fight people or something like that, forced to use R2 attacks, right? Anyways, moving on from that, acting like that did not just exist or ever happen, our boy here finds this little vial, and then we enter into the epic cutscene of Hogwarts. This is where our game truly begins. So the beginning of our journey lets us know that we are getting put into Hufflepuff by this silly little hat that was placed onto me, sucking out my brains and giving me an erection. But that is fine, because now we are in a Hufflepuff, which actually is what I've heard is Miss Garlick's favorite class. So as we finally wake up in the Hufflepuff's room, I see some dancing cactus, and our Rizzmaster here wants to rizz up the cactus, show him his dance moves, and then we have to talk to 3 little losers, but we'll just skip ahead from that part. Miss Weasley here, our big thick saint, leads us out. Next we make our way to Charms class, where we learn Accio. Steal a book from this woman over here. She's just all like, wow, that is so impressive, I love you. But as the dominant man that I am, I have to beat this girl at a silly little game and just destroy her, as the Rizzmaster does with his perfect score, and show her her place. We next get to learn Levioso, where we get to lift up a feather, throw it around, and then, sad to say, we come to our second problem of the challenge. That problem being that they put me up against my boy Sebastian, who I do not want to hit. No, realistically, I have to use my basic attacks again to knock him off and take the victory. So, once again, we have come into the same problem where it is a forced instance where I have to use my R2 basic attacks. So again, let's just forget this ever happened. You know, this can stay between you and me. If it doesn't, I'll fucking find where you live and I will end you. Next, we will be making our way over to Professor Ronan, where he then teaches us how to do Reparo. I repair a statue, he is very pleased with me, I am amazing, Twoffle is beautiful, we already know this. We then get escorted to Hogsmeade by the new transfer student. As you can tell, Twoffle is very excited, constantly rolling with glee, trying to get all the muck and grime in his hair. That is his special recipe. We then make it to Hogsmeade and Ollivanders, where Twoffle gets to try out his new wand. Look at him glow. God, he is so majestic. And after that, we meet back up again with the transfer student, and hey, there are trolls in this place. Now this isn't much of a problem, but man, was it annoying. So, as we can tell, I don't have any plants yet. Why would I? I just started. The only thing that I can do here, since I cannot press my R2 button, I can try and stop him, but as you can tell, that doesn't really work. So, I get the luxury of running around, waiting for the exchange student to hit it with 5s and slowly beat it down. Yes, I sat here running around for 10 minutes waiting for her to kill this thing. I already despise this challenge. I want to die. This sucks. But eventually, after just sitting here and Protego parrying and stupefying him, the troll finally goes down. Which I don't know about this, but then obviously I have to use my L1R1 to do my ancient magic powers. I don't really count that towards doing damage with a wand or attack or anything, because it's just a cutscene, but later on I will not be using that for obvious purposes. It is still magic that does damage. But then after that, easy part, we go around the town, repair everything just to help out the officers, because we are good little Hufflepuffs. Speaking of that, we make our way back to Hogwarts, wake up in our room, there's some guy standing right next to our bed, probably just watching me sleep, just Hufflepuff things you wouldn't understand. And that is the end of that quest line. Let's move on to the next. And now it's time for us to learn one of the most useless spells to us, an attack spell. So, Professor Hecat taught us Incendio. Awesome. I'm going to fail to shoot it at this dummy because I don't care, and I'm most likely never going to use this again. Because plants hate fire, and I love plants. So fuck you, fire. Now it's time for us to head back to our boy Sebastian, who's going to meet us in the library at night so we can kiss, and so he can teach us the best spell ever, going invisible. Delusionment. Disillusionment. I don't care, it makes me go invisible. I am not good with naming this stuff. But we're gonna be using this spell quite often because we're gonna be invisible. Something like that while our plants go out and kill people. Let's go. So now while our boy Sebastian goes over there and creates a diversion, we're gonna come over here, steal a key so we can get down here into the secret area. Twofold, my boy, is a little bit scared of these dark, short little areas. So I had to comfort him a bit, but we love him anyways. Once we reach the end of this little dungeon area, we find a book. We're going to steal it. I don't care what it is. Twofold doesn't care what it is, but he is a thief and it is his now. Now that our boy Sebastian freed us and took one from the team from down in the library, we get to meet the one, the only Miss Garlic. You do not know how fast I rushed over here the second I saw she had a quest for me. Baby girl, I will do anything for you. Even if Twofold is a beautiful, beautiful man, he will treat you right, trust me. I'll meet you in your dorm later. But another reason that made me rush over here so fast is because of these. We finally get the Chinese chomping cabbage. That is right, this is what we've been waiting for. These are going to be our main source of damage. Look at him go, throwing him at that dummy. My man is going buck wild. He is going to be one of few, not many, definitely few, in our arsenal of plant babies. So finally we can fight people properly. So right after that, we ended up heading over to this lady who will sell us exactly what we need. We're going to buy some of these seeds here. Right now we're kind of strapped on cash, but we're definitely of course buying the Chinese chomping cabbage seed because this is for later whenever we unlock the room of requirement. We're also, I feel like we might as well just buy the venomous tentacu, I don't care what the name is. The thing go bite and shoot, I don't care. But we're gonna grab these strictly for later. Speaking about another thing for later, for the room of requirement, we're gonna come in here on Tomes and Scrolls because this guy will actually sell us a couple pots. And I think for now, our main one that we want to buy is this, this one, one of the medium pots. Because there's the 2 medium pot one and then there's a 3 medium pot one. The 3 is a little expensive, so we're actually just gonna get the 2 one for now. And then once we get the room of requirement, place those bad boys in there and set up our farm. Next we make our way over to this lady who is being robbed, and that is perfect because now we get to finally test out how good our Chinese chomping cabbages go. Look at me throw them out right there. Now I'm going to just stupefy these people and CC and stun them, and look at that cabbage go. Look at him. He is biting them up. He's just absolutely demolishing them. That's what we like to see. Whenever I get the talent point to be able to summon 2 of these at once, they are going to go ham. This is going to be great. Now one downside, as you saw there, the plant actually just died because it has a timer to it. So now I have to just sit here and wait for this lady to kill this guy for me. So I guess I'll see you guys back once he's finally dead. Now after you defeat the Ashwinders, the lady tells you about the Merlin trials. It's like, yippee, set these things on fire, and then after you get like a lot of them later, you get more space for your inventory. Which is like, okay, whatever. And she's like, astonished, woo, whatever, okay, bye lady. Rizmaster Twofold got rizzed up by an old man who led us to his great-granddaughter or something like that, who then ended up kidnapping us, taking us to Azkaban so the Dementors can suck his cock. But luckily enough, she at least defended him so we could go and talk to the crack whore behind the bars, I guess. And then we got to learn Expelliarmus, which we definitely will not be using because it does damage. Fuck that. Our juicy little cabbages got to see some more blood. They definitely taste for it, they love it. And even more blood on this stupid protector here, this giant guardian, couldn't even take down the cabbages as well. See, This is why these cabbages go ham. Look at him, he is delicious, he is beautiful, I love him. And then after talking to yet again another weird old man on the wall, we finally unlocked the talent points. This is what I've been waiting for, because over here in the room of requirement 1, bam, for each Chinese chopping cabbage thrown, a second chopping cabbage is generated and released at no cost. So now, we get 2 cabbages for the price of 1. That is perfect. Finally got the access to the broomstick to be able to fly around rather than just walking around like a peasant. And then finally reach the most important part of this entire run, reaching the room of requirement. Because once we're in the room of requirement, we get access to finally being able to put up pots. Meaning we get to now be able to sit here for 12, 10, 15 minutes waiting to be able to finally get our cabbages out. So that means we have a reliable source of actually being able to fight now. So now this is what our final setup looks like for our plants here. We got each and every single one of them already maxed out at 12. I did a little bit of waiting to get these all set up. It's gonna be good. Now we have a reliable source for fighting. It's looking real good. We kissed Sebastian down in the Undercroft and he taught us Confringo. His boyfriend up top wasn't very happy and kinda yelled at us a bit. We then went to go talk to the old man who is going to introduce us to the first trial. Before making it to the first trial, my cabbages got to eat some more and I got to deafen some people with a mandrake. Entering into the first trial, which was pretty simple, I just kinda threw cabbages at everything and look at them go. Just absolutely devastating everything in their path like they do not care. After not too long, I made it to the final guardian, which was kind of a pushover. Like, look at this. The cabbages just instantly demolished him with these shooting plants back here. It was no match for him. I am convinced that being a botanist is the only way to play this game at this point. Which luckily then leads us into the next chapter of the game. Waking back up in our common room, this time nobody sitting right next to us peering at me while I sleep. Thankfully, Tufel got to experience the pleasures of motherhood by throwing weird treats at this furry fuck, and then Mr. Moon taught Tufel how to use the Alohomora spell, which will be able to unlock locks for us, mainly for him to be able to go into Professor Garlic's room and stalk her at night invisible. We were able to learn the Depulso spell so I can push these bitches off my dick. And then I made this little fuck use his tiny little legs for once in his goddamn life. And then we found a dead body with a ring on it, which we're gonna bring back to the tiny little fuck. Now that Tufel got a taste of motherhood, he cannot be stopped. He is out here just stealing and capturing all the fluffy little fucks for himself to have. He is a greedy bastard. Nobody and nothing is safe whenever this motherfucker has a knapsack on him. Everyone, if you see a green-headed man chasing you, run. You will be his. This will actually now be perfect to show you what I want to put as my trait. We have Herbology level 2 greatly increases the damage by all plants. So we need at least purple and legendary, well, orange grade gear to be able to run this. So we're mainly going to be looking for that and get that on there so all of our plants can be hitting like a truck. Sebastian came tagging along with me while I went to go fuck up some goblins and destroy them with my cabbages and my mandrakes. Tufel then took to the skies on magnificent chickens, got some new swag to put on, and then went to go and deafen some people with some mandrakes while cabbages ate the enemy's ass. We then entered into our second trial. The majority of the entire trial, the dungeon itself, was pretty straightforward, and I just want to sit here and show you how crazy this build is now. Every single time these cabbages are hitting, look at that. They're hitting for 279 damage a hit. Pairing it with now the range ones who are also hitting it for, what, 209s? Like, look at his health. It is completely getting melted. You cannot tell me that Miss Garlic would not be proud in me right now. She would absolutely be on her knees giving me that gok sloppy toppy 5,653. because this is just impressive at this point. Look at that, with the final cabbage, taking it out, that took only roughly like a minute, if even, maybe 30 seconds, I don't know, that was insane. Which once again leads us into the Hufflepuff common room, where we wake up in a new age, ready to take on the world and the next trial. Tufel took to the skies to beat some record of some bitch. She was really mean to him, so he was not a fan. Went into a tent with a dragon in it, decided to rescue it, wanted to just deafen everyone, and then my cabbages finally got to taste the blood of trolls. Look at them go, that bitch must be delicious. And now we get to make our way to the fun part, where we learn spells. We learn Bombardo, Descendo, and then we learn Glacius, which, out of all these, is the only one we can actually use, because it is a CC spell that does no damage. And then for the last spell we learned was Transformation, which you can instantly transform your enemy into a barrel or whatever, which we're still not going to be using, because it technically does damage if you hurt the barrel. Like I said, it's really a boring part of just learning about spells, so the next one we get is Arresto Momentum, which we can use. And then I destroy a kid by playing him in a game of balls. I don't know why, but this gave me XP, so I did it. We then went into a dungeon where my vegetables could go and eat some more goblins since they've seemed pretty hungry. Found another troll that they seem to love because they want to just sit there and suckle on his toes. And then we finally reached level 22, unlocking the Noxious talent for us, which allows our Tentacula, or whatever they're called, the shooty boys, to do more damage, and now they break shields. It is perfect. We went down into this dungeon so my cabbages and plants could kill some more goblins. Oh, and spiders, of course. We don't discriminate here. I went back to my baddie Miss Garlic so she can teach me Flipendo. And then we found another troll down in a dungeon where I sat there and did absolutely nothing. Yeah, this run is very, very entertaining. Then Tufel got to become an old man where he could abuse his power to children. And then we got to the third trial, which it in itself is not a big deal. But there's this part here where you are handed the Elder Wand, and I'm sitting here spamming L1 trying to use my plants, and I cannot. This is another force section where you have to attack. But, hear me out, this doesn't exist. You know, it's like you're in this whole weird trance state. None of this is reality. So technically, none of this happened. None of this is real. You see where I'm going with this? Again, pretend this never happened. We once again found another troll, which I wish they would stop showing up because they are the least threatening thing ever compared to my cabbages. Found some more goblins to do some more plant hate crimes on, and then we went to go fight the Graphorn, which, just look at this. Look at his health. This thing, it's nothing. It's instantly just half health, and then I bring him back over to my couch and gone. Dead. Completely just utterly destroyed. This challenge is in the bag. And then make our way to the next trial. After that, a creepy man in a top hat comes over and kidnaps Tufel, but we pay him back with our cabbages eating his fucking toes. We make our way underneath Hogwarts to go and stop the tiny people, and then we come over to a couple of trolls, which we basically just kind of throw out our plants and let Professor Fig do everything. And then we come up to the final boss, where his first phase is him flying in the air, where I have to just sit here and hope that my plants will hit him, which they're kind of okay at. It's kind of RNG whether they hit him or not. So I kind of go around running around him hoping they hit for a while. It is very annoying. But then after praying to the gods, waiting for my plants to actually hit him, we make it to the final phase where he is just sitting on the ground. And you know what that means. Just sit back, relax, and enjoy how my plants absolutely devastate this dragon. Literally within seconds, the Ranrock dragon dies. with the final blow being shot at the giant red orb around him, ends the game. Just like that, you can complete a botanist-only run with just plants. Well, sort of, because there were still the few instances where our boy Toofle had to use his wand. It was forced scenarios, so technically, no, you cannot actually beat Hogwarts Legacy by only using plants for combat. But besides that, it was still a fun run regardless. Now I hope you all enjoyed taking this journey with me and Toofle here. But sadly the run has officially come to an end. So I'm going to bid you adieu. Go head over to my girl Miss Garlic's house and we're going to rizz her up one last time. If you enjoyed this, like, comment, subscribe. Let me know if you want me to do any other dumb stuff, because let me tell you, even though near the end of this was very fun, this was hell at the same time. I had to sit there for at least, out of 10 hours of this gameplay, I would say at least one of those hours was just me waiting for all these plants to cook. I wanted to die. Thanks.